Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This video is a rarity for me. It goes out to members of the Xbox gaming community. This is probably the best untapped secret you will ever know about Xbox 360 third-party peripherals. So what I have here, starting with the left, is a new generation Xbox 360 Slim headset. Just your standard headset that comes with the chat pack that includes the chat pad, of course. And over on my right, I have the Plantronics M214C cordless phone headset. I have one in the box here because I ordered two of these, one for me and one for my friend. Anyways, I'm going to be focusing more on this Plantronics, as well as giving a pretty good comparison between the two and describing to you as best I can how they sound, because I don't have the means to capture samples from either of them. So, starting with the very bottom end of the headsets, the things that you don't really pay much attention to. This is the original Xbox 360 headset, 2.5mm mono audio and microphone connector, and this is the identical connector for the Plantronics M214 headset. Now, what you see here immediately is a difference between the two. This works more like a conventional 45-degree angle headphones plug, and this is different. I'll give you that. The Plantronics is gold-plated, and it does have this little rubbery flexible thing to help stop the cord from fraying. And now that itself is the very reason why I bought this Plantronics M214 instead of shelling out the same amount of money usually that you would pay for an Xbox 360 headset. It's because I've had trouble with not just one, but 4 headsets. It got to the point where all 4 of my Xbox 360 headsets were broken because of frayed wires in this little connector here, and it's right where this wire meets in with the actual terminal. That's where the wires fray, and it becomes almost impossible to use the headset. Some of them only have a working speaker, others only have a working microphone, and you can't get anything out of the speaker, and it's all because of this connector. So this one is much higher quality and much more robust immediately off the bat, in addition to the fact that each of the wires are individually braided, as opposed to both wires being carried in a smaller insulation inside this one main wire in the Xbox 360. The cord of the Plantronics is much longer than that of the Xbox 360's, since this headset was obviously intended for use on a cordless phone. And you can see it has one tie here and another tie up there, so you can pretty much make it as long or as short as you want. So now we'll move up to the inline control modules, as I call them. To your left again, you have the original Xbox 360 headset control module, the new generation. And over here you have the Plantronics control module. And immediately you notice a difference. I'll start here with the Xbox 360. You have your infinitely convenient, well-labeled, well-thought-out microphone muting switch. So you slide it down to mute, and there you get the red, and you slide it up to unmute. And over here you have your volume control. Slide it up to turn it up, slide it down to turn it down. It's that simple. And you have this clip here, which no one uses and which is incredibly inconvenient. I've had a lot of these break. Now, over to the Plantronics headset control module. Again, it's inline, and I should point out that it comes in the package like this. So I initially thought there might have been wireless capabilities for this headset because of the way the Plantronics logo looks, but unfortunately there's not. Oh well, I bought it for use wired anyway, so it doesn't really matter to me. And wireless headsets, as my good friend Nick knows, are relatively worthless. Anyway, that's beside the point. Continuing on with the Plantronics control module, you'll notice immediately it's wider. Now, the controls are on the side here. You have the well-labeled but initially hard to grasp. You know, it's not as easy to get to because, understandably, on a phone call, you're not going to be muting it as often as you would be on an Xbox, which is every time you get up. However, I do notice that the mute control on the Plantronics makes no noise. It's silent. So that way your friends won't know when you get frustrated and mute the mic because you're talking to someone. So it's also labeled on the side there, microphone mute, very clearly. You have a small clip on the back, which works well and is relatively durable. Over on this side, it gets real interesting. Up towards the top, you have your volume controls, but something that the original Xbox 360 headset doesn't have is this adjustable mic sensitivity setting, which I find is very handy for people like me who have booming baritone voices, and for other people who are quiet. You can adjust the headset based on what type of voice you have. And I'll get on to why that's more important on the Plantronics a little later. So now we actually get to the headsets. Again, on your left is the Xbox 360 headset, and on your right is the Plantronics M214C. We'll start with the Xbox 360 headset. As you can see, the connector, the inlet, is very well built. It's got those slats in it to prevent fraying, and it's nice and flexible. I've never had a problem with one of these fraying on this end. You have your foam cover for the actual speaker. It's just foam over plastic, a thin layer of foam. Still has a decent amount of padding. They're reasonably comfortable. And I have to admit, given that this is made of the same material that they use on their pop filters, it kind of shelters the harsher notes and the low fidelity of Xbox Live voice communications. Over here you have your swivelly arm for the microphone, so that if you're eating or just consuming a snack of any kind, you can swivel this out of the way, swivel it any way you like. And at the end here, this is the Xbox 360 version of adjustable mic sensitivity. This little bendy thing, and I honestly have no clue what to call it other than that. Now, this little bendy thing, I've never had any issues with wires inside it fraying, so I would imagine it's very well built. And to give you guys an idea, if you've never taken the boom off of your Xbox 360 microphone, that's exactly what it looks like. Just that little inlet there. Probably the cheapest microphone they could possibly get their hands on. Now, going up around here, you have this nice little headband, and at the other end, you have this nice padding, so it's equally comfortable. And now for the Plantronics headset. As you can see, the build quality is largely similar to that of the Xbox 360 headset, because, in all honesty, why would you need to build something more or less than this? They found a perfect amount for occasional or even very regular use, and trust me, even though I have snapped one of these Xbox 360 headsets in half, it took 140 pounds atop a foot to do it. So they are very durable, and you'd be hard-pressed to break one by accident, say by just bending it or something like that. They've done a couple of different things with the colors. Of course, this one's not all black. It's mostly gray, although you get some nice glossy piano black accenting where the Plantronics logo is. You get another nice Plantronics logo on the swivelly microphone piece. And as you can see, there is no bendy thing, because again, let me go back to the adjustable microphone sensitivity, because even though this thing doesn't bend, the angle of the earpiece, which I should point out is adjustable, and all of that will determine exactly how your voice sounds in a much more controllable manner that isn't as impromptu as just bending this, which kind of reminds me of silly putty, to be honest. Anyway, back to this headset. As you can see, it's also adjustable in pretty much the same way the Microsoft headset is. You have some filtering here to prevent the harsh sounds and air from escaping or contaminants from getting into the speaker. You know, just creates better airflow. I'm not really sure how necessary it was, given that this is a cordless phone headset, not an expensive pair of headphones, but it seems to have worked well. And in case any of you haven't already noticed, I have installed the old pop filter or boom from the Xbox 360 microphone on the Plantronics M214C. And for those of you who want to see what the actual microphone looks like, this is what it comes with as per standard. There it is. And I would recommend, if you still have your old Xbox 360 headset lying around, that you do use this pop filter, or else really the T's and P's and all of those other harsh sounds come out very trebly on the other end, and it's not very good to listen to. For your speaker here, you have much better, much more comfortable, much higher quality foam padding, which I kind of like. It was definitely a change from the Xbox 360, but it was a good one, and it allows more of the speaker clarity to get through. Now, going along the other end, because it seems to be something I touched on with the Xbox 360 headset, it doesn't have this nice little padding here, which at first I was disappointed about. However, I realized that this headset fits much looser on your head than the Xbox 360 does. You know, after I tried this for about 2 hours, put that one back on, and it feels like it's squeezing you. So you really don't need that padding. In fact, this thing is far more comfortable than the Xbox 360 headset in every way. Now, getting down to the minute differences in audio fidelity between the two headsets and how that translates over Xbox Live. For those of you who have Turtle Beaches, or even play the Xbox Live headset voice through the speakers, you'll notice a lot of it sounds tinny and not very well refined, and the noise cancelling is kind of put to extreme levels with the Xbox 360 headset, where it is much more forgiving, even on the lowest sensitivity level. I've gone very loud and very quiet at various sensitivity levels to test exactly what this microphone could do, because it is definitely different. Another thing I've noticed is that due to the extremely low bit rate at which voices are broadcast over Xbox Live, so it doesn't matter how good a quality a mic you have, they're always going to be broadcast at 3 or 4 kilobits per second. So you're looking at very low bit rate audio through and through for Xbox Live communications. This speaker is good enough that it picks up the very minute kind of, how do I put this? It's almost like digital noise that the Xbox voice transmits. No matter what sound's being played, it's all so low fidelity, and you can definitely hear that. It makes an example of that in the form of, I don't really know how to explain it. You'll know if you try this headset. I can guarantee, though, you won't find it to be of annoyance. And there's been several times, almost every night, actually, where someone on Xbox Live, their headset will clip or cut them off, or even their voice will cut out. The lower ends and the very fine details of voice with this Plantronics headset are much more identifiable. So, again, those are the minute details. If you want to know which audio is just better, the Plantronics is. Now, as far as microphone recordings go, at first, when I played this back, it sounded like directly from a cordless phone. It sounded a lot more bright than the sound on this Xbox 360 headset here. And at first I thought that was a drawback, but then I realized that was just because of the much higher quality of this Plantronics microphone. And if you put the Xbox 360 boom on there, I think this Plantronics is simply as good as it can possibly get. In fact, it almost outweighs that of your lower end Turtle Beach. The Plantronics headset is better, it's more comfortable, it's more versatile, it has more features, slightly better built, better designed, with higher quality materials, and the audio in both the speaker and the microphone is definitely a step up from the Xbox 360 headset. So, gamers out there, if you're looking to spend between $15 and $25 instead of the $30 you pay for this thing, These are available on Amazon, on eBay, and in some select retailers, although I couldn't find any where I live in Canada, so I promptly gave up and ordered them online. I would definitely consider it a wise investment and an essential upgrade to that thing, especially in our new age of higher quality digital gadgets. With that, I conclude my review. Thank you and good night.